The Ellisons now own a third of all media.
Take control over what they are saying.
Is that your account?
Send their ass to jail.
To control the way that we communicate.
The term Zionist for a protected attribute as hate speech.
And in this case, Oracle came in and purchased Warner Brothers. Larry and David Ellison have an effective monopoly on both traditional and digital media. They will use this to propagandize you, manipulate you, and punish you. Larry Ellison bought out Paramount. They bought out TikTok. We're going to get into that in a second, but they've recently purchased Warner Brothers. Netflix backed out of the deal. I believe it's because Trump threatened Netflix with some repercussions based on someone that they have on their board that was a former Obama appointee. So some political riffraff going on there. And in this case, Oracle came in and purchased Warner Brothers. So what companies exist under the Warner Brothers umbrella? Let's take a look. Too many to read. So I'm just going to scroll for you guys. Geffen Pictures, DC Studios, Fandango, New Line Cinemas, Castle Rock. I mean, I can keep going. Cartoon Network, very valuable. But no, really what blows my mind, HBO is pretty crazy, Cinemax, blah, 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 is when you get into the news division. So I'll scroll down for you guys to just, you guys can peruse on your own here, but CNN, which is a notorious, I mean, it's a shit posting network, but the idea is that it was a sort of a counterbalance to the Republican conservative viewpoint. I personally, I don't know why I'm breaking the fourth wall here, but I personally hate all major news, but CNN was pretty bad. But now they own it. What that essentially means though is you're only going to get one messaging, right? Which is never good. And again, I'll just keep scrolling for you guys to see. That is a major buy. Now me showing you that list may not really hit home, so let me show you a video that really encapsulates how crazy this actually is.
Today, $111 billion deal is about to put CNN, HBO, CBS, and Warner Brothers under the control of one family, the Ellisons. Larry Ellison, worth over $200 billion, is one of Trump's biggest donors. When Trump approved their merger last year, Ellison agreed to gut diversity policies and hand CBS News to Barry Weiss, an opinion blogger whose website he bought for $150 million. Her first big move as editor-in-chief? Killing a vetted 60 Minutes investigation into Trump's deportation policy, 3 hours before air. The correspondent called it corporate censorship. 11 of 40 evening news staffers walked out. Now Paramount wants all of Warner Brothers, including CNN. Trump publicly said it's imperative that CNN be sold. Ellison met with him at the White House. And the DOJ that would approve this just had its antitrust chief purged. Netflix walked away today. Not because their deal was bad, but because fighting a politicized Justice Department wasn't worth the risk. One family, 2 news networks, and a president who treats mergers like loyalty tests with no regard for the public.
David Ellison, who's Larry Ellison's son, is going to be the one running and operating this whole media empire. Now, what's the problem with that? If a family wants to practice a little bit of nepotism and they want to run the media, right? They're not getting away from the stereotypes, by the way. But if they want to do that, that's their choice. When you realize that Larry Ellison donates more than anyone in the private sector to the IDF being the Israeli military, you understand now where the manipulation, which I gestured at the beginning of this video, part of the hook, where the manipulation, the control, and the subsequent punishment will come into play. The Ellisons now own a third of all media. Wrap your head around that, okay? So yeah, nepotism is bad unanimously, but also when you realize that the people who are practicing this nepotism and this pretty much monopoly of control over how we think, how we entertain ourselves, when they don't serve America, that's obviously risky and very, very scary. Let's take a listen at the president of TikTok, put in place by Oracle.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends. trying to keep the platform safe. There's no such thing as an end game.
Zionism was not founded by religious Jews. So when you use the term Zionist in any form, it should not be designated as hate speech. It's not like calling somebody the N-word, right? It's not like calling a Jew the K-word. That's unacceptable. We can all agree on that. You're taking a word that has no religious connotation, that doesn't ethnically describe anyone, and you're using it to control the way that we communicate. And that's the issue when you have monopolies. Now, obviously, we've transferred over to the digital realm. I didn't want to spend too much time talking about traditional media because we don't watch traditional media. We know that it's always been propaganda, so whoever controls it, controls it. It's shit content anyway. No disrespect to the boomers. I'm sure I have a lot of viewers that are a little bit older than I am, but when the boomer generation who are still in love with Fox, in love with CNN, whatever, when they pass away, those platforms aren't profitable. They're gonna go away with it. I'm worried mostly about the digital front. What worries me is there are a lot of people in control in America that are obviously partial to Israel who are okay with stifling the First Amendment. This is anti-constitutional, and you can hear it from the demon's mouth.
But it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it.
The way we solve anti-Semitism is pretty goddamn simple.
Take control over what they are saying.
Send their ass to jail. It's not complicated.
And quickly before it's too late.
We're monitoring political Islamists and Christian nationalists, all of them. And then we train. We're the largest trainer of law enforcement in America. Extremism hate. We train 20,000 officers every year.
I just want to pause it for a second before we get into this next section. Notice that he brought up Christians and Muslims. They want a Christian and a Muslim watching this. They want us to fight. They want us to hate each other. They want to keep us bifurcated. I've been saying this for years. We are not enemies. We may not have the same belief system in who Almighty God is, but it doesn't mean we're the enemy. It's our speech that is effectively getting tarnished and suppressed. But this makes me even more nervous.
Try that again.
Here because of the comments made online about the Jewish community.
We deeply value our partnership with law enforcement. We've been working with them literally since the FBI was founded in the 1930s.
Is that your account?
Okay, so Raquel makes a comment online. She goes, the guy who consistently calls for the death of Palestinians tried to shut down a theater for showing a movie that hurts his feelings and refuses to stand up for the LGBTQ community in any way, even leaves the room when they vote on related matters. Want you to know that you're all welcome here.
That guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians, that can probably incite somebody to do something radical. That's all we're here to talk about. I would think to refrain from posting things like that.
That's not England. We know England is falling terribly. That is America. That was in Miami. So countless times for what you post online, law enforcement is coming to your house. This is some Gestapo bullshit. This is not America. This is anti-American. You can't get angry enough about this. What she wrote wasn't even anti-Jewish. I don't even agree with all of the posts, to be honest with you, but she was speaking specifically about the death of Palestinians, and her house got visited by law enforcement. Larry Ellison, thought I forgot about you. This is predicated on his control and who he actually serves. That's why that last segment was essential. But he also has an island called the Island of Lanai. And I just want to kind of paint a picture of what kind of person he is. That's the purpose of that. Check this out. Did you know that the co-owner of Oracle and the owner of TikTok, Larry Ellison, has his very own island? It's called the Island of Lanai. Did you know that Larry Ellison was also mentioned in the Epstein files? So did Larry Ellison get his island because he was jealous of yours? And did you know that Netanyahu actually visited this same island and spent time with Larry Ellison?
And the most important purchase that is going on right now is TikTok. TikTok, number one.
The renewal of the Jewish state is something that I think touches all of us.
Larry Ellison bought that island. Lifelong locals are being pushed out. So I'm not creating a parallel between Epstein Island and his island, because his island is actually open to people. You can go and you can visit, you can stay there. I've heard that it's actually very beautiful. The issue we're having is that situations like this, one, it shows his connection with Netanyahu is insane, right? He's an American citizen. Like, why are you that connected to this guy? But whatever. I'll get into that relationship more in a second. But he's hurting locals, okay? Driving up prices, pushing them out, typical shit. Netanyahu was reportedly offered a lucrative Oracle board seat by Larry Ellison. So this relationship is a lot deeper than you can ever imagine. He's putting money to this, saying, you as a person, Netanyahu, I'll offer you a spot on the board. But Netanyahu couldn't take him up on it because he would have to leave his role in Israel to take on a job in the private sector. Now, Oracle, who Larry Ellison is co-owner of and who is one of the major shareholders of TikTok, and by the way, the purchase that just went through with Warner Brothers was funded by Oracle stocks. Oracle is actively actively running artificial intelligence and machine learning on government data across federal, defense, and local levels, supported by recent high-level security authorizations. That's scary. Oracle's first client, by the way, back in the day, was CIA. From the dawn of time, this has been an intelligence agency asset. Now, what they claim on Oracle's website is that they're delivering a privacy-first AI to government and defense customers. And I'm sure that they do, because they are serving government intelligence. But Oracle is being sued for security law violations. The lawsuit seeks to recover losses on behalf of Oracle investors who were adversely affected by alleged securities fraud between June 2025 and December 2025. And as I said earlier in the video, Israel's biggest donor is Larry Ellison, and he now owns CBS, Warner Brothers, Paramount, etc. He owns it all. Traditional media is done for. We can't affect change there. Digital media, I believe that Meta, who just got a loyalist to Israel put in position as president. By the way, I believe Meta is the most free. You can say whatever you want on there, but I think it's a honeypot where they're using it to gather information on who's a threat. So just keep that in mind. TikTok, you can't get away with a damn thing. They're suppressing all of my content over there. YouTube, middle ground, still a honeypot. They're gathering information. We desperately need new platforms that are run and operated by us people so that we can communicate freely, share information freely without the fear of being punished and persecuted.